Hey everyone, welcome to NFT Insiders. It's a real pleasure to be here for the discussions today with four very esteemed speakers. My name is Augustine Ho. I would like to thank Black by Action Cities and Chan and Hori for inviting me this afternoon. These sessions of NFT Insiders will be the NFT Playground, exploring with marketplaces and blockchains as experts whose platforms push boundaries. NFT are a trend at the intersections of tech, finance, cultures, with potentials for innovations and social impacts that goes beyond the markets. The NFT Playground has altered the digital asset and arts ecosystem, established new paradigm. We will discuss about the marketplaces, cryptocurrencies, and NFT collectors this afternoon. I'm very honored to be in conversations with Ms. Jiawen, COO of Mintable, Ms. Marissa Trew, Head of Content for TZ Asia APAC, Mr. Yacine Terai, CEO of Startuptoken and founders of Minty.Art. Last but not least, we also have a special guest known as Luna from Metaverse. He has chosen his digital persona to participate in NFT Insiders within the NFT Playground. Luna is a meta identity of a cyber arts collector who has collected more than 500 cyber artworks from artists all over the world. He is one of the most prolific collectors on NFTs by Singaporean artists. We are very honored to have him on board as collectors. I am the co-founders of Perfectum, a boutique art advisory. We have developed a programs for incubations, residency, and exhibitions for the creative talent. I've been collecting traditional artworks, focusing contemporary artists such as Nara Yoshitomo, Nagai Tomoko, Takashi Murakami, and Singapore artists such as Jimmy Ong and Harry Chen Ke-chan. I like to highlight on the 500 art paintings by Takashi Murakami, the founders of Super Flat Arts movement. These paintings were inspired by legends of 500 art. It's a significant piece. Artwork was constructed as a token of gratitude to the state of Qatar for coming to Japan's aid in 2011, where the Great East Japan's earthquake and tsunami. Murakami had released his NFT avatar called Clone X last year. We are seeing this kind of fidget arts that works from the leading artists and creators. Artists moving into collectibles, NFTs, arts is going to accelerate as creators and collectors getting more increasing first in the potentials of the metaverse. Thank you. Let's start off with Ms. Jiawen. Over to you, Jiawen.
Hi, I'm Jiawen. I'm representing Mintable. Mintable is an NFT company, and we have an ecosystem of products. Marketplace is one of them. So we've been in the space since 2018, before NFTs was even a thing. After building in stealth for 2 years, we launched publicly December 2020. I remember it was Christmas when we just launched. Nobody knew about NFTs at that point. And we just pushed ourselves out there to a market. There were maybe thousands of people using our website, our marketplace, on a weekly basis. And before we knew it, NFT summer came about, and people started getting interested in NFTs. In the year 2021, we had 500,000 users sign up for our account. 500,000 creators and collectors set up their account on Mintable to mint an NFT, to collect an NFT, and to buy an NFT. We also had an incredibly great financial and business year, whereby we raised our seed and Series A round. And today, as we continue building in the NFT space, what we're hoping to do is to be the best place on the internet for anyone who's looking to mint an NFT, for anyone who's looking to learn about NFTs, for anyone who's looking to collect NFTs. So we do that by providing great user experience, giving you all of the tools that you need, and we've also created a couple of proprietary technology to help people who are completely new to crypto get into NFTs. One example will be what we call gasless minting. Gasless minting is an invention by Mintable. Our CTO is one of the most experienced developers in the NFT space, and he was building our batch minting technology when he realized that there was actually a way for NFT to be minted without paying any gas fee upfront. We launched that product somewhere around mid of last year, and the market went crazy. We had tons of creators minting their first NFT with nothing but just a MetaMask wallet, no Ethereum, and when they sold their first NFT, they received Ethereum for the first time. So we were onboarding thousands and thousands of people. And when we spoke to these creators, what we learned from them was that as a creator, you don't just have one piece of work. You tend to have a ton of photographs and painting that you've created over time. But, because of how expensive minting was, they were simply unable to put up everything that they collected and created. So what they then did was, just choose one or two items that they felt would really do well. With gasless minting, we have enabled, sellers to really be able to sell, their entire offering, their entire collection and their creations on our Mintable platform. Of course, there are a ton of other tools and features that you can use if you're a creator on Mintable. One example, you can upload private files. If you don't want people to right-click and save your product and put it as a display picture, then you can upload a slightly lower resolution of it, version of it and attach the high-res one privately. As a buyer, we know that people are trying to get into NFT space. We know that they find it incredibly hard. It is hard enough to buy crypto, much less learn how to set up MetaMask, take care of your seed phrase and your private keys. What we've done at Mintable, if you're trying to buy an NFT and you don't have crypto, you can choose to check out via credit card. And of course, you still need to download a MetaMask, but you don't have to fund it, with Ethereum. What will happen? You check out, you put in your credit card details, and the NFT goes straight to your MetaMask wallet. We have a world-class team that's been in NFTs for a long, long time. Personally, I've been in crypto since 2017. I got into NFTs maybe sometime around 2019. It was still way before NFTs was interesting to anyone. We are backed by really, really strong investors and I would say public figures who believe in the future of NFTs. And we have people like Mark Cuban, we have Ashton Kutcher, we have the CEO of Salesforce. These are the people that believe that NFTs are about to go mainstream. And so, this is why, if you're a creator or you're a collector thinking about getting into it, you really should. We're also backed by a ton of VC funds as well as crypto funds. And I think this really just shows our dedication to building a great product for the NFT space. Before I end off my sharing, I shall not go without sharing some alpha. And I don't want to just be talking about Mintable. So if you're a collector, if you're a creator, these are some platforms that I think you should really look at. Verte is a new up-and-coming platform whereby if you don't want to sell your NFT, you don't have to. You can monetize your NFT based on the number of views that it's getting. Because art is not just meant to be bought and kept in a wallet. It's also meant to be appreciated. ShopDefi is Shopify for NFTs. If you don't want to solely be on a marketplace and you want a storefront of your own, you can consider ShopDefi. Mer is a DAO for fashion designers. So right now, NFTs is highly limited to digital formats. It's limited to 3D art. It's limited to some form of 2D art, given the rise of PFPs and various multimedia format. But there is a room for creatives all around the world to participate in the NFT movement. And Mer is doing that for fashion designers. All of the websites are available here. So with that, thank you for having me today, and I enjoyed my sharing.
Thank you. Marissa, please.
It's me. So thank you for that presentation. That was awesome to learn about Mintable. My name is Marissa Trew. I am the head of content for TZ APAC. So to give a little introduction into TZ APAC and a little bit around the activities that we've done as a company to support artists in the Tezos ecosystem, I'll just go through some of these slides. So quick primer on what is TZ APAC. We are the leading adoption entity for the Tezos blockchain in Asia. We are based in Singapore, and we are supported by the Tezos Foundation, which is based in Switzerland. As for myself, as I mentioned earlier, I am the head of content. I'm also the host of Tez Talks Radio, which is the global ecosystem podcast for Tezos. And I'm also a budding NFT collector. I'm very much at the ground level with a lot of people who I'm sure are tuning in at the moment, in that my journey didn't start that long ago, and so I've sort of figured this out from the ground up as well. A little primer into what Tezos is. So Tezos is actually a proof-of-stake and highly energy-efficient blockchain. It's been widely adopted by the NFT artists and collector communities worldwide. It's open source, it's self-upgradable, and it also allows for collaborative and innovation in a secure and decentralized way. So to dig a little into some of the projects that we've actually done region-wide so far, and typically actually within the last year, because of this NFT boom and the enthusiasm around it, I'm going to go through basically some of the key markets that we cover and some of the activations that we've done. So the first one, though it's missing a flag, but the hint is in the name, is Art Moments Jakarta. We partnered with this hybrid digital and physical art fair based in Indonesia to start educating artists, both emerging and established, on how to actually mint their NFTs, and also those participating in terms of how to actually purchase those NFTs. So that was actually conducted via live streamed video tutorials, as well as there was a charity auction for a piece called 53 Never Forgotten, where there were 5,300 editions minted of this piece that was actually animated, but I didn't manage to capture on these slides, where it was minted on Tezos on the Hicket Nunk marketplace, and all proceeds went to the fallen soldiers' families of the submarine crash that occurred in Bali last year. Over in Brunei and Singapore, we actually did support a project called the Mad Hatters Club, which was a collaboration between two prominent generative artists. The Bruneian was Yazid, and then a Singapore-based artist, Radar Boy 3000, where they created a series of 888 generative three-dimensional bunnies, some of which you can see here, which was met with great success. There was actually a lot of enthusiasm, and it became quite difficult to mint. I managed to nab just one. And it's an ongoing project where more bunny designs are being released, and it's always creative, and it's always innovative, and they render differently based on the buyer's wallet address. Over in Malaysia, we became very closely affiliated with Moon, or otherwise known as her Twitter handle, Mumu the Stan. She became known for her pixel art. She was actually based in Malaysia and not really pursuing art as a means of supporting her living. It was more of a side hobby for her. But she became very closely affiliated with Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, where she minted her first NFT on Tezos and sold it to Mike Shinoda, who then, both of them became essentially unofficial but very prominent ambassadors of the Tezos blockchain and minting NFTs on Tezos. And most recently, Mike Shinoda launched his Ziggurats collection, which was a generative mixtape coupled with images of which you can see in the bottom corner. Again, those were met with high demand and great success, and that was only done in early December. Then in the Philippines, at the end of last year, we also created a Tezmas 2021 campaign in partnership with Bitpanas, one of the leading crypto publications based out in the Philippines. And what we did here was we actually invited the online Filipino community on social media to create sort of a piece of art, a piece of digital art that represented what Christmas was to them in the Philippines, and then essentially taught them how to mint it on the Tezos blockchain. Whether they wanted to sell it was wholly up to them, and these are just some of the submissions. And it was essentially our small but effective way of encouraging people to start interacting with this technology, whether they aren't artists at all but are creating something online and just want to know how the technology works, to those who may be a little bit more exploratory or emerging as artists and actually want to get in the game a little bit better. And then last but definitely not least, Tezos was the only blockchain-based exhibition that was hosted at Art Basel Miami, the official event. where we saw thousands upon thousands of people actually explore the booth. There was a live minting station that was created by Mario Klingman, where it would render aspects of people's likeness into a portrait of sorts, a very abstract, generative portrait. And again, this was a grand exercise in encouraging people to interact with this technology directly, mint their very first NFTs, as well as to create a wallet. It was also an excellent opportunity to showcase some of Tezos's most prominent worldwide artists, and it offered a platform, even though it was in the States, for Asian artists as well. And this was also backed by an NFT speaker series where we led 3 days of comprehensive talks and panel discussions, educating people about blockchain technology, the prominence of NFTs, and not so much in terms of the technical aspects, but more about the artists who have chosen to mint their work on these platforms, as well as why they've chosen to do it, the differences between the platforms, where people can get started, and also just generally the attitudes to the curator space and how we're seeing this convergence between digital and new forms, digital and traditional art. So currently, we are also hosting an exhibition at CFocus during Singapore Art Week, and that's being held right up until the 23rd of January. And that was where we also took the opportunity to showcase Southeast Asian artists. In that, we also actually created a live minting feature where, again, people here could also experience what it would mean to mint an NFT and then open a wallet to house that NFT. We chose the metaphor of the North Star because we think of NFTs as a sort of a new guiding light for artists who are looking to create better and more sustainable livelihoods. And yeah, it's been an exciting piece of work, and I think it's only going to pick up even more. And otherwise, that's me done. But if you want any more information, you go to tzapac.com or follow our socials at tzapac. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Marissa, and Yacine,
pass it on to you.
Thank you. Impressive presentation. Very hard to come after two ladies in general, and especially when they are doing very good presentations. So I'm Yacine, Terai, founder of Minty.Art. So we are creating a platform enabling creators to connect with their collectors and trying to build what we call these 1,000 true fans. There will be shortly a video that's going to introduce what we've built, the project we are onboarding, and the artist. Our angle is that we want to be more than just a transactional platform. We want to create more interaction between collectors and creators, and create this very strong relationship where basically they are building, a strong journey together, and collectors would be onboarded from the project status to the delivery of the final NFT. So we had this fabulous project called the Sistine Underground Chapel, built by the French artist P-Boy, and we followed the team that was filming the whole process of creation of this monumental creation from this French artist during COVID time. For 6 months, they followed the whole process of creation, and this whole movie has been tokenized in more than 280 NFTs. And the idea was to show to the world that there's another way to crowdfund and fundraise and fund a project, and give also different way for collectors and the audience to have a sense of ownership of a digital asset, which was hard before. So yeah, there will be Ben, our content creative, that will present the video. So I'll let you look at it, and make sure you just go on Minty.Art and check what we have. Yeah, this is it for me.
The Underground Sistine Chapel documentary is simply incredible. It follows the story of French artist Pascal Boyart, known as P-Boy, in his adventure to transform an abandoned gold foundry on the outskirts of Paris into what he calls a modern Sistine Chapel. For those who haven't heard of P-Boy or the Sistine Project before, then click the link in the description to be taken to our Life of P-Boy video that explores his background, his work, and the other amazing projects he's created. If you haven't watched the documentary, I highly recommend it. Links to the Sistine Project are all in the description below, so make sure you watch that video before watching this one. The film itself is breaking many of the industry's norms, particularly how the project was funded. See, P-Boy and his production team, Samurai Coup, are dedicated to the idea of decentralization, using the public support to fund future projects. Pascal was notably the first painter to attach a Bitcoin QR code to his street murals in order to receive donations. With the Sistine Chapel documentary itself, the film is 100% funded by cryptocurrency and has been released to the public for free. The film starts with the process of creation, really delving deep into the preparation and planning that went behind the artwork, as well as introducing us to the residents of the foundry. Pascal explains how the people living on site are a real mix of interesting characters, from artists, sculptors, business owners, videographers, and immigrants. There is a real sense of community within the foundry, how they share everything they have, everything from food to clothes. One of the residents explains how you can do a lot without much. It's interesting how the idea for the Sistine Project actually came about by chance. Pascal found 2 books within the foundry, all weathered and torn, and one of which was a look into Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and immediately the idea jumped out to him. After seeing the big hallways, the natural light and the glass roof, Pascal said it was eye-opening. The level of planning and thinking behind the work really comes to shine within the film, things that you wouldn't even think about that would have to be planned down to the finite detail. Everything from adapting the original Sistine painting to fit within the available space, dividing the walls into grids to guide the painting process, and adding the small signature details that really make it a P-Boy project. Pascal spent months letting his ideas mature, mulling over even the smallest details, and now the result is one of the most ambitious NFT projects ever made. Whilst talking about banking systems and the film's fundings, we get our first mention of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Pascal is very supportive of the idea of decentralization, and just like his previous works, he's incorporated a QR code into his mural that links to his digital wallet where patrons can donate Bitcoin. Just as Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo had patrons supporting their work, Pascal is bringing the concept of patronage into the modern world. Now anyone walking past the mural can show their support and appreciation to P-Boy, as funds are being directly sent to his digital wallet. This method of patronage gives artists the support that they need to create incredible pieces. If you'd like to know more about the role of patronage and how it can benefit you, then click the link in the description to be taken to our video. An interesting point that one of the speakers brought up was the importance of social media in the modern art world. He said how if Picasso were alive today, he would probably have an Instagram or a Twitter account and would be asking for his followers to like and reshare his posts. And I'm sure he's right. Nowadays, it's hard for upcoming artists to break into the art scene, and any exposure that they can get now will help towards their future. That is why, if you haven't already, you should follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are constantly reposting some of our favourite artists' amazing pieces, new creators who join the scene, and any crypto projects that catch our eye. The COVID-19 lockdown in France gave Pascal lots of time to create the Underground Sistine project. He mentions that he painted for 2 months in a row, non-stop, every day. This level of dedication of an artist to a project is hard to come by, but it makes the end result even more special. It's safe to say that all of the hard work has really paid off, as the end result is a spectacular homage to the Sistine painting, with some of P-Boy's stylistic additions. The level of detail in the final piece is nothing short of incredible. You could honestly spend hours looking over all of the fine details that you would have missed at a first glance. Smartphones, computers, even a nuclear power plant can all be seen hidden amongst the artwork. Pascal has also added the local faces from the foundry into his work. His neighbour to the left of Jesus with the barbecue grill, Enrique on the far left window, and Hervé holding the cross. If you'd like to explore the Underground Sistine Chapel but don't want to travel to France, you can. Pascal has teamed up with street programmer and crypto enthusiast 234D to create a high-resolution 3D model of the mural. You can immerse yourself in the space, walk alongside characters and zoom in on details you might have missed. I highly encourage you to check it out for yourselves, as just viewing a picture or a video of the final piece just doesn't do it justice. I personally really enjoyed the documentary as it gave so much insight into the world of P-Boy. It explores his passions, his inspirations and his views of the future, especially the use of blockchain technology and NFTs. Pascal notes on how the technology is giving his collectors the opportunity to own the physical art. In his previous work, Liberty Leading the People, although the physical mural has now been destroyed, the artwork is immortalized on the blockchain. In this sense, his art will live forever. As part of the movie release, P-Boy has teamed up with Johan and Antoine from Samurai Coup to explore new ways for avid fans and collectors to show their support for the Underground System project and the documentary. From rare cards to director's cuts to exclusive movie tickets, the film gives birth to more than 200 collectibles that are all available in a pre-sale event exclusively on our platform. Rare cards are already being snapped up by eager collectors, so make sure you sign up to our platform and explore the collection. Links are all in the description below. As for the artwork itself, Pascal has divided the mural into over 400 NFTs, each featuring a different character from the painting. For those who are interested in purchasing some of the artwork from the mural, I've left a link to the OpenSea collection where you can check it out for yourselves. That's all we have time for this week. I've been your host Ben, and as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get all of the latest updates on the world of crypto art and NFT news, and I'll see you all very soon.
Thank you, Yacine, for the video, and thank you for watching. Next, we have Luna from Metaverse on his presentations.
Most people call me Luna. I'm a NFT collector based out of Singapore, and I'm living on the Metaverse. Really honored, really privileged to be here. Thanks for having me. I collect cyber creations from all over the world. This could be art, this could be any form of NFT creation, really. I'm just going to monologue a bit in this segment and also show you my collection. First, we'll look through the Singapore vault, and then we'll hop on over to the international vault. And I think that will give you a good idea on what I collect, you know, this being a visual space and all. And I think showing you would do more justice than simply describing. So without further ado, let's go. First off, straight off the bat, I get this question a lot, which is, why the secrecy, Luna? Why the meta identity? And I think that the answer may be more obvious than people think. And it really lies with the word consistency, right? If you're going to take part in the Web3 space, it makes a lot of sense to associate yourself with something, that best represents you in your interaction and your social reach in Web3, right? So I think this movement of more and more people adopting meta identities is just going to pick up. And then the second question is, why are you associating with a CryptoPunk, JPEG, PFP, right? I think this is more obvious. CryptoPunks have always had a historical significance to the NFT space, so it was an obvious choice when you looked at the timeline. But more important than that, I think, is the fact that CryptoPunks have evolved to be the choice for many taste makers in this space. Now, it's not to say one is better than the other, right? But when it just came down to choice, that was what I took in choosing the best identity to represent me. The next obvious question would be, because I'm a collector, of course, most people would wonder, what decisions do I make, right, before I collect a art or a certain NFT creation? And I think this answer is a lot less obvious in that I can't speak for all creators because we are all different. Obviously, right? There's no one specific tribe. There's no playbook on how or what to collect. That would be ridiculous. I just collect what I like, and that has somewhat been a meme that I portray in my socials. So when people ask me, what do you collect and what decisions do you make, I say, literally, Luna only collects what I like. That's just how it is. But it says a lot, right? Because this is Web3. Anyone can be a collector. I'm no expert. We're not experts. You know, you watching this across the screen right now could be a collector like literally today at a snap of fingers because there's no barrier to entry, right? We are all retail to some extent. And that's a feature, not a flaw. So, but that being said, would there be really strong collectors with a fine art background or curation background? Certainly. And truth is they are already here. So if you pose this question to them, it's going to come up more reasonable, right? And I think you're going to sense make a lot better. But I would say that may not speak for the rest as well. Then we come back to square one, which is as Web3, there is no playbook. We are all different. But that being said, let me say this. I do invest a lot, like in real life, and I think in my particular collection, I would be lying if I say it is not a long-term investment of sorts. I mean, I'm not doing this necessarily just as an ego thing, or anything like that. I am looking at a very long-term horizon. The question is how long? And I think the answer is that it's a really long time, really, really long. Like what, 30 years maybe? Who knows? Decades, right? Decades. Until this could be worth a lot more than what it currently is. And that's if a big if, right? That the Web3 space really pans out the way we foresee. If you ask me, it's inevitable. If you ask someone else, maybe, right? The next thing that I think many people want to know is besides collecting, what are my motivations, right? So I do use my socials, my platforms, my galleries, to be in active communication with the mainstream who have yet to adopt or even have an idea of what NFTs are, as well as to bring up the space, right, to support the creators in, I call them the Web3 builders, some people call them metaverse builders, whatever, right? It's just nomenclature. But I really feel that in order to bring up the space, you need to keep people educated. You need to support them. You also need to motivate them to bring up their level of their craft, which is also important. And one of the efforts that we did at an early stage is to set up the SG NFT Creator Group, which essentially is a grassroots level group, right, which aims to help existing NFT creators to get more plugged into the space and certainly to stay in the space. And aside from that, to motivate, right, educate and get other artists and creators from mainstream to enter NFTs and to realize that it is not what mainstream media might be painting. It's not that difficult to enter as long as you have good community support. And yeah, and that has gone a long way. We have almost 200 to 300 creators in our very humble group at this point. Yeah. In real life, I do collect physical art, but not gonna lie, the moment I entered the NFT space, I have completely stopped, right? It's just NFT art at this point. So I think we're still early. I think that many people would eventually move towards such collecting. Already, many art studios, exhibitors are asking me to be more involved to push the narrative, and I'm always supportive. Anything for the space. I'm going to touch on something slightly contentious, but I think that people need to hear it, which is that NFT art and by association NFT artists have a much larger potential, right? Have a much larger objective aim than art itself, right? And why I'm saying this is because NFT itself, I don't view it as just a medium. I don't view it as just a canvas. because it would be a terribly awful or like boring canvas, right? I mean, it's so boring, right? As a technology format. But it's not about that. It's the idea and the speed. Oh my God, the speed in which it can propagate your ideas forward, and the people it could reach and help. It's totally unprecedented. Uh, and you cannot in good faith tell me that this could be achieved with such speed and ferocity in real life. I'll give you an example. Um, Even as I'm doing this recording, a physical space uh, doing digital work has reached out to me to say, hey, could you exhibit a part of some of your collectibles that you have? And I said, sure, certainly, and I bet you within the next 10 minutes, it's already out there, right? And getting eyeballs in the physical realm. But more importantly, I messaged the collectibles project in their Discord group, and everybody's excited. The community is excited. The administrators are excited, and this is a 80,000 strong community, right? Who wants to now exhibit their art and promote their collectibles to the world, right? And to promote it within this space as well. I mean, the speed of this communication is all done, mind you, in 15 minutes. And it's achievable in the next 15 minutes. Again, can you just take into account what I've just said and tell me that's not mind-blowing? I also do these regular Twitter spaces, and we are supporting of artists in the Tezos ecosystem. And I can tell you that I am live, buying such art from people who I would otherwise not been able to reach. And the feedback, that you get, some of them are really, I mean, really emotional, where you see lives changed on the spot, right? These creative people with no other means but to explore their creative outlet, getting support by a Singaporean meta identity from across the world instantaneously, right? Achieving that transfer instantaneously. Again, nothing in the real world can mimic the speed and the impact in which these things can happen. And mind you, I'm just one entity, I'm just one person, right? But multiply that with millions out there who are doing similar things. I think it's safe to say this is much, much larger than just one industry alone. I think it's good to leave with this parting thought about what the future of NFT is. I think it transcends art, it transcends collectibles. Art and collectibles, for perfectly reasonable reasons, are the gateway into adoption and acceptance, right, by mainstream. But as we go beyond what this all means, if you look at NFT, it is really just a unique. It's a tech format, right, that best represents uniqueness, right, in an open and transparent manner. And I think what belies this definition is a lot more than just collectibles. It's really like the question of identity, right? Which brings us back to the opening statement of why I chose a certain identity. I think this is going to go on into decentralized finance. It's going to go on into all kinds of really, really nifty, cool stuff, that will be done on the basis of identity. And I'm throwing my hat into the ring right now. My bags are packed in anticipation of where this movement will bring us. So yeah, thank you for listening to what I have to say and for viewing my vaults. If you have any question, or if you want to get your NFTs or you want to debate me, feel free to reach out on my Twitter account. My Twitter handle is 1000BTC. And yeah, let's meet on the metaverse. Thank you.
Thank you, Luna. Thank you very much. We will moderate today's panels on NFT's Playground. The topics, of course, is very relevant to us. Without further ado, let's start the conversations. The first questions for the panelists. How would a collector begin deciding which NFT to collect or which creative to support? Yacine, would you like to comment, please?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Augustine. So I think, NFT, collecting NFT or a bare bricks, physical artwork would be exactly the same thing, the same process. You collect something because you're passionate about it, because there's a connection with the creator. You won't, your journey as a collector has to be personal and not influenced by anything else than your own emotions. And if the artwork resonates with your level of appreciation, so this is exactly how I started my journey into NFTs. I randomly stepped into this French creator that I was begging to pay attention to me because I wanted him to work in a project that I was thinking about, and he didn't really pay attention to me because I guess he was obsessed by his work. And at some point, I just bought a piece of art, and then we initiated a conversation. Now that I paid, I have the time. I bought some time, and basically, we started to chat, and he was presenting to me some artwork he was doing, and really, I started to learn more about the vision, the purpose. And it gave more substance to my exploration, and this is where I started to really give more dimension to the artwork. And it happened that he issued his artwork as an NFT. That was a mural. He was painting graffitis and frescoes on walls in Paris, and he turned them into NFT. And I think the whole dimension, the whole story around that gave all the value to me, and this is how I started to collect. So it's really personal, and NFT should not be approached in a different way, although there is also a financial aspect to it, and marketplaces that help to create a price discovery and trading, etc. I think it starts first with your own appreciation and
Right.
connection.
Yeah, interesting. Yes, thanks, Yacine. How about you, Jiawen?
Yeah, I cannot agree more. With your example that collecting NFTs is almost just like collecting something physical, and the process shouldn't be much different. So there are a ton of NFTs. There is the CryptoPunks. That is really a piece of culture and a piece of history that today may look like a financial product simply because of how much the price is appreciated. But I'll also say that when you look at NFTs, they don't always need to fit into a bracket. It doesn't need to be just something that you like visually. I've bought NFTs from a collectible series. Like I recently bought Asian, which I believe is pronounced as Asian. It's a collectible project, and I bought it because I felt like it represents me. It represents me in the metaverse. But I've also bought one-of-ones created by artists simply because I like the aesthetic and I want to support the artists. So I think it's like collecting in real life. You can collect figurines, you can collect stamps, you can collect culture, you can collect aesthetics, and I think that's my stance towards discovering what NFTs you want to purchase and collect as a collector yourself.
Yeah. Thanks, Jiawen. Marissa?
I don't need to echo what these two people have said anymore. I think you guys have completely nailed it. It is very much a personal thing, but I think a lot of the confusion comes around whether you are purchasing an NFT because you like the artwork or whether you're looking at it more as an asset class or an investment decision. And I think that's where people get bogged down, is because commonly the question asked is, how do I buy an NFT that's going to be worth something later? Or how do I make sure that it triples its worth or 10x's its worth? And I think we're starting from the wrong point in the conversation there. I think actually it comes down to, exactly as we said, it's the aesthetic of the artwork. Is it something that you feel a certain way? Does it evoke a certain emotion? Is it an artist that you like in particular? Or what's the community that supports that artist? And is that a group of people that you want to interact with and be a part of? And I think when we've seen the rise of Bored Apes and CryptoPunks and the communities that have surrounded those that are very much like high net worth and exclusive, people see that as sort of the point, when actually that's just one type of NFT that you can engage with. It's not the only type. So you kind of have to ask yourself different questions depending on whether you're looking at it in terms of you just want to collect it. For me personally, I only buy NFTs from artists and communities that I like, or those that I find aesthetically pleasing, those that I'd be proud to show off to my friends and family. But then if you are looking at it in terms of, like I said, this asset class, I think it comes down to asking yourself things like, what's the community, like what does that NFT stand for? What's the community that backs it? What blockchain is it on? And what level of activity is occurring on that blockchain that might lend this NFT to gain more traction in its value? I think there's a lot of questions that can be asked, but to reiterate what you guys have said, it comes down to what you think makes the piece valuable. I think that's it. That's the simplest way to put it.
Yep, thank you, Marissa. I think it's a matter of taste and DYOR. See which artists to support or as a patron. Yeah, a German artist, Joseph Beuys, once says, every human is an artist, every man is an artist. It's kind of wild, wild west right now, but I'm sure it will develop further, kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have maybe the next questions. How do your platform support artists, or how have you been involved in the art scene, whether in Singapore or further afield? Marissa?
So as an adoption entity for the Tezos blockchain, and as I covered in my introduction, that we've done a lot of independent sort of activations to support artist communities throughout Asia. And that's gone to whether it's, creating content for people to, like tutorial videos for people to understand exactly how to mint their first NFT, to whether it's actually collecting a community of Tezos-based artists that all interact, they collaborate, they actually innovate together. And that's something that we've assisted with, but haven't really been, we haven't had too much sort of executive control over. We're not trying to govern this activity. We're just trying to create the environments for these sorts of interactions to occur. And then, of course, we have all of the activations like our campaigns online. Art Basel Miami was huge for us. Our Singapore Art Week exhibition at CFocus, all of these ways to basically shine a spotlight on the artists that are minting their work on Tezos and basically help raise their profile.
Right, yeah. Jiawen?
Yeah, I think for us, we see ourselves as doing a lot of the heavy lifting from a technology standpoint. Because I think at the end of the day, creators are good at creating art. And the kind of help they need with would be things like, hey, I want to customize royalties. I would like to run an auction. I would like limited edition, and a printable series. So I think these are the ways that we come in. Of course, I also spoke about, gasless minting to remove friction earlier on. But I see us as providing that technological platform for any creator to just get started on. We also have, a seller university on our website. So if you are not so sure how to get started, just watch the videos that we have. We literally tell you what to do step by step. And I think on top of that, I earlier on said that we were also an NFT company. So, we're not just a marketplace. We also fund projects. We also buy NFTs in our treasury. So I think we're trying to do almost everything, from end to end in the ecosystem. And, we are at the end of the day a Singapore company. And, we'll love to get more involved with the local NFT space here. We started in 2018 when there wasn't a local NFT community. And, now that there is, we'll definitely hope to be able to get in touch and help a lot more and contribute to the community and play our part.
Thanks, Jiawen. Yacine, anything to add on?
Yeah, so I think, I onboarded maybe 300 artists via a Zoom call. So helping artists, understand what is blockchain, crypto, NFTs. This is a daily job, and I've been educating or helping people to approach this technology for a while now. I'm passionate about it, so it's not a problem. But in terms of, let's say, artists specifically, via our vision, the idea of Minty was from the beginning to see how we can create a model where we can recreate in a digital way the patronage model. Thinking about, okay, what if I'm not just a collector, but because I'm bringing so much value, because I want a special interaction with the creator, I would like a particular relationship. So the idea of Minty was to build the patronage transaction where I support the artist, the vision, and in a reward I get an NFT that would be delivered at the end, and I do whatever I want with it afterwards. I collect it, I want to trade it, but exploring different angles of this transaction that would happen between a collector and a creator. But also we are trying to, because we are a blockchain native and a Web3 driven platform, we have a token, and the token we are trying to look at different ways to redistribute the value created. So we're really testing different ideas, different model to, I really like you mentioned before, Looks Rare, what they're doing by creating this new incentive model. And I think this is really a playground, just the same way you label this this panel. Today we are all testing, where it's experimental. We are trying to see what would benefit those communities. How can we create value and redistribute it in the most fair way? And so it's very exciting. And especially in times where people are just surfing on that wave. I've been in different phases in crypto, and this reminds me the previous phase of tokens, fungible tokens, because we're talking about non-fungible now. This is what it's good to remind what is an NFT, non-fungible token. But yeah, it's so exciting to see all these this evolution and how technology is adopted. So this is my short answer.
Right, thank you. I think it's interesting to know that from Jiawen that you're also buying to support the communities and the artists. There's a very new, discovering new way of telling a story for the artists, especially. It's quite meaningful for them. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, maybe we go for the third questions. And what's the exciting or dynamic evolutions that you're working towards for your platforms to create and ensure constant engagement?
Okay, so everybody's looking at me. As I was just mentioning, we're playing with these new, tokens. Like we created a token in our platform, and we're trying to gamify the way you would buy artwork, the way you would, collateralize it, or what would be the different functionality you could bring to these assets. And this technology is really mind-blowing. I mean, when I say technology, I'm talking about blockchain technology and the tokenization of those assets, because it enables really to test different models. So the engagement we're trying to create is by having people to buy our token, lock it, and you have like a reward system where, because it acts basically like a membership. Basically, you log the token, you don't have any more to pay for gas fees or transaction fees or platform fees. This is the way we try to support, but also by enabling the magic of a creator meeting the right collectors, and not having just a random person that would buy and try to just like flip the token, but basically like follow in the whole journey. I think, yeah, we are just an enabler. We want to connect the right people, and then, you know, the magic will happen by itself.
Right.
Do
Melissa?
you want to go first?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's so many things. There's, you know, on the Mintable roadmap this year, you know, we're gonna look at every chain. You know, we are gonna look at, you know, analytics. You know, just now we talked about collecting. I think before you buy a creator's work, you know, you want to see their Twitter. You want to see, you know, what are the works they've created. You want to see the history. So we're going to enable all of that. But maybe, you know, for the purpose of, you know, NFT Playground, you know, as an entire industry, I personally am very interested and excited to see the launch of Verte, because I personally have spent a lot of time looking at NFT pieces that I cannot afford, like that the artist will simply not sell, you know, for the price that I'm willing to pay. And the truth is that, you know, it doesn't really need to be so binary. I think that marketplaces, we have done a good job, you know, of removing certain middlemen, you know, like auction houses and galleries. But I think there is more to just, you know, there's more than just being there's more than just you know, about removing a third party. I think just now you said, you know, everyone is a creative, and we talk a lot about how in Web 2, you know, all of our eyeballs and, you know, all of our impressions are being put into advertising dollars. So what if, you know, there were galleries whereby, you know, you don't have to buy the art if you cannot afford it, but by spending time on it, by giving the creative your time and your impressions, you know, they can also monetize it. So I think, and this is not just the only, you know, the only, I would say, concept, you know, that I'm excited about. I think a lot of these will come up to play, and I think it'll be a very interesting year ahead for NFT creators. I think they're going to have a lot more options and tools in terms of how they want to display their art and how they want to build a community.
Yeah, I mean, for us as an adopted entity for the Tezos blockchain itself, for us, it's a lot more about enabling these communities to continue to create, to sell their work, and to understand how they can actually engage with this technology in new and creative ways. So obviously, one, as I mentioned earlier, we're creating these communities or helping facilitate these communities so that artists can actually come across each other, they can start conversing, and they can potentially collaborate or come up with innovative new projects that sort of support this creative space even further. I know what's exciting for us is Tezos has two primary NFT marketplaces, Hic@Nunc and Object.com, and watching the growth of those has been really exciting because we're watching, as we see these ecosystems grow, we're also seeing new formats of art that are being generated, and we're also seeing the entrance of, I guess, more traditional visual and physical artists trying to enter the space, tokenize their work, and represent them digitally in a way that we haven't actually seen before or haven't paid enough attention to, because it has been growing and it's sort of occurred under the radar in a way. So it's very much about shining a spotlight on all of this activity and encouraging these artists to continue to create. And for TZ APAC, where we actually lend some support, is similarly when it comes to artists who are looking to mint their work. I mean, first and foremost, Tezos is like the gas fees are minimal, so there's virtually no barrier to entry, financially speaking. But in terms of the larger scale projects where perhaps a bit more funding is needed, TZ APAC launched something called the Ecosystem Growth Grant Program, where we can afford small scale funding. We can offer small scale funding to any kind of project that would like to build on the Tezos blockchain, and that includes the art space. And I think in terms of, you know, receiving grants and receiving funding, the art realm was often underserved in a way, and we want to make sure that, you know, they have as much voice and power to create as much as anyone else in this world.
Right, yeah, thank you. I think that the NFTs is a very big business and culture force. You know, we do see lots of celebrities profiles, you know, using this their avatar, this kind of thing. So it's a form of, you know, engaging with their fans and their audiences, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I do see that spectrum that's going on, that kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we have the fourth questions then. Yeah. What do you envision as the perfect combinations of the physical and digital?
I mean, I'll go first if that's okay.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's actually a fantastic question because a lot of the enthusiasm around the NFT art space has been primarily digital art, or frankly, not even just digital art, but crypto art specifically, which was almost its own niche. And now, as I think I mentioned earlier, we're seeing this convergence of new media and old media, but as much as digital and physical. So on the one hand, you know, as we start to collect our NFT art pieces, we're going to want to display them. Like, we want to be able to display these proudly because clearly and aesthetically, these are something that we want to show off. As we said before, art is to be appreciated and consumed, whether it's visual, whether it's auditory. And, you know, if you keep it hidden in your wallet, what's the point in a way? And at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, we're seeing physical artists, so say sculptors or those that create complex installations, being able to digitally render those same pieces. And I think that's where we're going to see, you know, the metaverse really come into play, where we will have a physical piece and that will also equally be digitally represented in a digital space as well, or in an online environment. So, you know, if you can't afford a flight ticket to the city where your favorite artist has put up a grand display in a city square, why not engage with it virtually? And I think that's going to open all these other gateways where it won't just be, you know, about standing in front of a sculpture and taking it all in. There'll be a virtual component to it, or an augmented reality component to it that's just going to make it more exciting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think NFT will become as any of the common paintbrush, you know, in any medias of the artist repertoire these days, kind of thing. Yeah. Yacine, would you like to comment?
Yeah, so what is very interesting is that now we're talking about NFT, but like focusing only on the art, you know, vertical application. But it's definitely, again, a playground. Art is just this space that enables you know, to test and look at different use cases. But I believe that there will be, you know, kind of transition where there will be like dual lives. We will have the virtual, I mean the real one, with real object, real people, and there will be a metaverse life, or, you know, virtual world life. I remember, like in the old days, I'm talking about a year ago, because, you know, in time of blockchain time, everything is takes like a, you know, is a different time and dimension factors. But a year ago, artists were minting an NFT based on a real asset, a real painting, and in order to give it to its value, they were trying to store the value into the digital representation by burning, by destroying the physical one, in order to, you know, just show that there won't be, you know, like two assets that will live. And so, because I guess in the beginning, people were a bit confused what exactly is happening here. There's a digital representation and a physical one. How are they associated? But I think, you know, we now there's no problem for an artist to that has created a sculpture, a painting, whatever that lives with us here, to give it another existence in a digital world, and we'll give it like two different functionalities. So that's for the art application, but I think, you know, there will be a digital representation of every asset that exists around us. Every asset, you know, like I mean, I think even us, we will have, and it's starting with these avatar. You know, we're talking about the digital identity. It will be represented by an NFT. Because in this world, we are NFTs. We are non-fungible assets, right? Yeah. We're all unique. So it's very interesting to see this application in art and how it's going to be, you know, applied to other industries, technologies, type of asset. So yeah, we are really beginning at a big revolution here.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you. Like, don't you feel like? Don't you feel that at the end of the day, you know, we tend to forget that and because NFT is such a big word right now, but when it was first created, the technological value add was really just digital rights, right? And that really was what it was for. That if you had a physical, if you have a physical piece of art, you will have to go through lengths to prove that you own it. You will have to be at risk from damage, and wear and tear over time. Like what you said just now, you bought a piece of art, and then you could create a conversation with the creator, right? Because it was immediately trackable that you did buy his art. So, I think, I know as we're talking about, physical and NFTs, I think it's really the NFT technology, and the adoption of these core tenets of technology and how it permeates into our life. Marissa, your point was excellent. Like you're talking about displaying, right? And we are the generation with multiple screens. Like I literally have my NFT on my watch, and and then when I go home, it's displayed on my screens and it's also on my laptop, right? So there isn't a better generation to own NFTs than the ones, than the digital natives like ourselves. I think that's how I feel.
Right, thank you so much. First, we'll take one last questions. And what would you take a noob through your platform to start the NFT collecting journey? People like me, a noob.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, Marissa?
So I mean, our simplest method so far has been through presenting, a live minting station at an art exhibition, where you simply stand in front of a piece and you scan a QR code, and it prompts you to capture a generative piece at a specific moment in time. And then in that, you then are taken through a very quick onboarding process to the Kukai wallet, which is a browser-based wallet on Tezos. And you can log in via your social media, so it's almost immediate. You don't have to be overwhelmed by the complexities of seed phrases. And you always have that, and you can actually transact simply using your email address or social handles. And then once you mint that NFT, it's transported straight to your wallet. And then I personally believe that you never forget the experience of minting or owning your first NFT. I still remember mine. I minted a personal photo or a personal poster. So I think that's a great way for people to take that first step. And I think it just comes down to the fundamentals, right? Like buying your first cryptocurrency. So making sure you actually have the currency to transact in. That's an experience in and of itself. Storing that in a wallet, and then starting to enter, these community forums or these exhibitions where the artists that have minted their work as NFTs are interacting and getting to know what you might like, exploring different styles. Maybe you want to explore pixel art for the very first time, or maybe you want to own a generative piece to see how it renders for you when you buy it. And then kind of just becoming accustomed to the space and realizing it's not as scary or as intimidating as I think a lot of the vocabulary that we use makes this world seem. I think it's just the easiest way in.
Yeah, interesting. Thanks, Marissa. Jiawen?
Yeah, so for Mintable, we actually built the way we build our platform is to make it seamless for people who are new. Like that is literally our target audience. So if you know how to use Shopify and if you've uploaded an item, you shouldn't have any problems using Mintable. It's as simple as creating an item, uploading, putting in all of the information, and because we have guestless minting, if you don't have gas, just choose guestless minting and click, and you should see your NFT, the metadata's there. If you have a problem, drop me a note on Twitter, I'll fix it for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we need the acquiring an NFT is not very complicated. Like all platforms are doing a tremendous job in improving the whole user experience and trying to make it look like a Shopify experience, or like all those common platforms we're all using. But I think it comes with a lot of responsibility that we don't really measure in the beginning, because this is a whole new world, a whole new way to acquire and store values. And I think you just need to test in the beginning, like play a little bit, buy a little bit of crypto, try a different platform, see which one you like. But it's gonna open the door to such an amazing world. And you have to realize that also today you're gonna buy something maybe that is going to be worth hundreds of dollars, but it might turn into millions of dollars. And we all heard stories and know stories about those crazy even punks that were distributed for free, right? And now are worth millions. So what is really important is to understand the responsibility behind like holding a wallet, what it means, because it's inevitable. So it will take maybe for some a couple of weeks, for others a couple of years, to go through this whole process of understanding exactly what they're holding. But yeah, it's you went through that, Augustine, remember?
Yes,
yourself,
yes,
right?
yes,
So
yeah.
I hold you by the hand and
Yes, it's kind of painful then. Yeah.
but this is such an amazing experience when you have your first crypto and your first NFT. So yeah, it's
The first wallet.
first wallet, yeah. So you're gonna experience it, and people need to take their time and to make sure that they understand what's happening, because it's more than just an asset. It's a whole mindset of sovereignty, right? Because you're holding the access to your wealth, and it's gonna grow tremendously. So better be careful on how you're holding this.
Right, thank you. Well, I guess it's the end of the sessions right now, and thank you so much to Marissa, Jiawen, Yacine. It's
thank
been
you.
a wonderful conversations. Yeah. I also like to thank Black by Action 60 for hosting us, and please look up for session 4. The next NFT Insiders will be NFT Asia's Building a Community. Thank you and goodbye.